Welcome to the ArmaniTalks Show, episode 38. I'm your host, Armani Talks. Within the ArmaniTalks Show, I'm covering all things communication skills related, from public speaking, social skills, emotional intelligence, and much more. To join the tribe and stay updated with the latest videos, if you're watching from YouTube, go ahead, hit subscribe, hit that like button, and you will consistently be recommended the latest Armani Talks episodes. Today, I'm going to be talking about a lot of different topics, but I want to get started off with reality shows and Love is Blind, the newest season. Whenever I tell people that I watch reality shows, they look at me like I'm crazy. They were like, Armani, for a while you looked to be a smart guy. Why would you fill your mind up with that negative entertainment? And my philosophy is, in order to become a better storyteller and in order to become a better communicator, you can't be one of those people who boxes yourself in with the content that you watch. If other people can predict what you watch, then chances are you're not as creative as you think. With reality shows, it's a big universe. Whenever someone tells me, hey, I don't like reality shows, what I hear is, I don't like food. If someone tells you they don't like food, it feels like a general statement. Well, what type of food don't you like? And it's very similar with reality shows, where when someone is like, I don't like reality shows, my question is, what type of reality shows don't you like? There's the dating types of shows, there's the cooking types of shows, there's the business makeover types of shows. What don't you like? Where my philosophy is with a lot of these reality shows, sure, some of it may be scripted, but a lot of it, I think it's set up in a way where you can get a peek into human nature and you can learn more about yourself. When I was a kid, there was this show called I Love Money and I Love New York that was coming out. And let's just talk about I Love New York. This is basically a show where a bunch of men are competing for this girl named New York, and only one man can win. So, with this rule in mind, of only one man can win, you need to play the game accordingly. Now, there were a couple of guys that were forming alliances with one another, and they were being all buddy buddy with one another. They were being really good friends to one another. And then there were the other group of men that were taking the exact opposite strategy. They were like, only one man can win. So, all these guys in this house, they are not my friends. So, these guys were backstabbing the other guys. Now, as a youngster, I always thought that being a snake was one of the worst things that you could be. But in this situation, with competition, was it really that bad? Because ultimately, if one person can win, these guys that are being buddy buddy right now, as they progress throughout the competition, eventually they are going to be going up against one another, and eventually they are going to have to compete. And every now and then with competition, sometimes snake moves are rewarded. So I'm a little kid at this point, and I don't know which side I'm going to take. Is it better to be all buddy buddy with the other guys and potentially be a snake later? Or is it better to be a snake from the very beginning? This is who I am, and be a snake even later. Because ultimately, only one man can win. So sometimes when a situation is not happening to you and you are watching it from the outside, it allows you to be a little bit more mature, and it allows you to evaluate your philosophy better. And that's exactly what a lot of these reality shows did for me, where it allowed me to understand communication skills better. So I am a fan of reality shows, and I think it has unfortunately gotten the reputation as only trash TV. Sure, a lot of it is trash, and sure, a lot of it is content that you don't have to think about, but I do believe that you can learn a lot from it. And that's where Love is Blind, the newest season, is coming in. I consider Love is Blind very different than Love Island, where Love Island, all these people are going on this island, they're playing these different games to eventually find their perfect partner. But Love is Blind is a super unique show where you're not playing all these games, you're not drinking half the episode, doing nasty stuff. Love is Blind is more so a social experiment. It's the hypothesis, is love really blind? Yes or no? and they're going ahead and testing it. Basically, men and women, they are talking, but never seeing the other person in the beginning stage. So Mary and John, they're in two different rooms. All they can do is listen to each other's voices. They're talking about their childhood, they're talking about their adulthood, they're talking about their desires for the future, who they voted for, all of that stuff. And then eventually, they decide whether or not they want to get engaged. Mind you, they still have no idea what the other person looks like. And the producers recommend that they don't ask questions about what do you look like? Where are you from? Especially in the beginning stages. After that, if they're clicking, the personalities are matching up, that's when the guy or the girl will propose. They will officially be engaged. And that is when they meet. When they finally meet, sometimes the reactions are positive. The two people, they're actually attracted to each other. And other times, that's not the case. One person is not remotely attracted to the other person. And that's when the theory can be tested. Is love really blind or not? Now, for some interactions, they go from seeing each other all the way to the altar and saying, I do. They want to get married. And there have been a lot of couples that have been married from the Love is Blind show, and they're still married to this day. But other couples, after they see each other and they're looking at each other, they're like, oh man, I'm not remotely attracted. And that's when we really see, is love blind, yes or no? And it's been a very unique experience to watch shows like this because sometimes love really is blind. The other person doesn't care at all. As long as the personalities align, then everything's good to go. But other times, this becomes a huge issue. It actually becomes one of the central reasons why they break up. It's because love is not blind. You do care about other people's looks to a certain degree, whether you admit it or not. And overall, as I'm watching the show, I'm learning a lot about psychology. I'm learning a lot about how different people behave to pressure. And I actually wrote a newsletter about one of these situations, which you should subscribe to, by the way, armanitalks.com/newsletter. Basically, one of the newsletters I brought up how women and men react differently to pressure. When a guy and a girl are dating one another, and let's say they're about to meet the girl's parents, the girl is going to feel super nervous. And as she's feeling really nervous, she's going to see if her guy is also feeling nervous. So, right before the high pressure situation of meeting her parents, she asks the guy, hey, are you nervous? Now, the guy, he often says, nope, I'm ready and I'm confident and I'm good to go. Now, the girl doesn't really like hearing that answer that much. The girl's like, okay. And she'll ask again later on, hey, are you nervous now? Once again, the guy is like, nope, I'm good to go. And that's when the girl snaps. The girl's like, well, I want you to feel something. And the guy is super confused. And rather than making his case, he's like, oh, yeah, I guess I'm nervous. Just because he doesn't want an argument. Why does this happen? It doesn't always have to be with meeting someone's parents. It could be for a lot of high pressure situations. Why is it that when the girl asks, are you nervous? The guy normally says no. And better yet, why is the girl even asking, are you nervous right before a high pressure situation? A long time ago, I made a video that right before you, as a public speaker, are about to give a speech, you'll have multiple people coming up to you asking you whether or not you're nervous. And you may not have been nervous, but now when multiple people are asking you, yo, bro, are you nervous? Now you're starting to feel nervous. So, why is the girl asking this question and why is the guy responding this way? Here's why. A lot of women, when they feel strong emotions, they want to make sure that they're not alone. So she is feeling nervous, and now she is looking to the guy to see if he's also feeling the same emotions. And if he is, now she feels as though she's not alone. Now she's like, okay, so there's at least someone else who feels nervous like me. But from the guy's aspect, number one, he does not like to be asked questions like, "Are you nervous?" Because he is trying to put himself in a calm state. And when she's asking a question like that, it's putting him in a chaotic state. And men, they are very selective with the words they choose right before a high pressure moment. Why? I'll tell you a secret. It's because many of them are nervous. They're scared. But they can't say that because they still need to lead. See, in situations like this, the girl has the luxury of being nervous because if this interaction, the high pressure moment, doesn't go the way that she had intended, she could always fall back on the guy. Now the guy is the one who's taking over. But the guy, he does not have a failsafe. So if he's like, yeah, I'm really nervous, and let's say the girl can't handle the pressure, the guy can't handle the pressure, who's going to handle the pressure? There's no backup option. So the buck stops with the guy. So the guy's like, oh, okay, all this nervous energy, it ends right here. I am good to go. I am going to take care of this. This is his way of psychologically affirming that he is good to go. So this is something that a lot of women and men need to learn. Women are often going to ask men before high pressure situations, "Are you nervous? Are you nervous?" Trying to get someone to empathize with her. And the guy's like, "Yo, quit asking me questions like that, man. You should be hyping me up. You should be telling me everything is going to be okay. Hey, don't even worry about it. My parents are going to love you." And if you don't think that, if you think that your dad is going to grill me, fine, let me know. But don't be mad when I'm telling you I'm not nervous. Because women are thinking that the guy is not feeling anything, while in reality, the guy is feeling a lot of things, but he still needs to lead anyways. A big part of leadership as an adult is leading despite being terrified. You are scared to death, yet you are the one who needs to maintain composure because other people are relying on you. That is what being a man is about. So that's one thing that I learned from this whole Love is Blind show. Right before a lot of these couples were about to meet each other's parents, one person was always like, "Are you nervous? Are you nervous?" And when the guy said no, it always led to an argument. Another thing that I learned is that a lot of times people will come out of the woodworks and snake you. For example, there was this one episode, everyone is going against this one guy. It's like, oh, this guy's a liar, this guy's a liar. And it's because this girl who's supposed to be his friend meets his now fiance. And you're thinking that this girl who's supposed to be his friend is going to be hyping him up. But instead, she's stirring up this conversation that's causing a fight between him and his fiance. And I noticed throughout this entire series, this girl, the friend, never tried to talk to another guy, is just minding her own business, just being a girl's girl the whole time. And these girls who are girls often are some of the worst people to invite as a third wheel because these people, they don't have a boyfriend, they don't have a man, and they hate to see their girlfriends have a man. So a lot of these girls, they will sabotage the relationship, and that's exactly what happened. And to make matters worse, the fiance was like, "Oh man, like I don't believe you anymore. I don't trust you anymore. You are a bad person." And just like that, the interaction is being ruined. So that's one thing that I've noticed a lot of times where you're trying to introduce people together and it's not ending up the way that you expected. I'm one of those guys that is very selective about introducing different people that I know if they're within my immediate crew. If they're not in my immediate crew, let's say I have a great plumber and my coworker needs a plumber, I have no problem making the introduction. It's because I consider these people in like the second tier, third tier of my crew. But people within my immediate crew, where I see them consistently or their family, stuff like that, I'm a little wary about introducing them all the time. Sometimes I will introduce them. Where when ended up getting married and I had my walima last year, I invited a lot of different galaxies of friends. They met for the first time, and luckily they got along. But there's going to be times when you're introducing people and they don't necessarily have any commonality besides you. So you introduce them, and rather than them talking to each other about different topics, they're making fun of you. And you're thinking, yo, man, enough with the jokes about me. And they keep making fun of you. Or maybe it's just one of the guys. He's poking fun at your expense a lot. And now you get mad at him. And now he gets mad at you for getting mad at him. And now you guys are fighting. And now this new guy is not trying to take your side because he knows you too well, but he doesn't want to burn bridges with this new guy that he met. So he's taking this other guy's side. And you're thinking, I was trying to introduce you guys. I thought I was doing something good. And now both of you guys are going against me. What's up with that? So that's not good in my opinion. I think if people do introduce you, you should always keep the person who introduced you in the loop of things as well. Where there have been times I've introduced two groups of people and they're hanging out without me. And I felt a little disrespected. I'm like, dude, I'm the one who made this whole interaction happen. And you're over here hanging out with this person, not inviting me. So when people are introducing you, you definitely want to keep them in the loop, at least in the beginning stages. After a time, no one remembers how each other met. If you ask me, hey, Armani, how did you meet XYZ? I have no clue. And eventually, the people that you're introducing, they're not going to have a clue on how they met either. But in the beginning, when they do have a clue, you should be inviting them and they should be inviting you, especially if you were the person who made the introduction. Now, if you are being introduced to someone, you want to be that person who is very easy to integrate. Where there are two guys that I know, I have this reputation about them. I'm like, it doesn't matter who I introduce these two gentlemen to, they will always find a way to integrate. They are that great at conversations, they are that great with joking, and they're that great with hyping me up. Whenever I introduce them to other people, they're like, yo, how do you know the man, the myth, the legend, Armani? That's what I like to hear. Versus this other guy who I've known the longest. I've known him ever since I was a freshman in college. Great dude. The thing with him is he is super introverted. And he's one of those guys, whenever you introduce him, he feels as though you're slighting him. And he's just finding different ways in the entire conversation to disagree with you, but not to disagree with you in a respectful sort of way. Disagree with you where it's trying to embarrass you. I remember one time I introduced this gentleman to a new friend, and we're talking about football. And I'm like, man, this guy looks just like this guy. And this individual who can't integrate is like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. No, he doesn't. Do you even know football? And I could tell that he's trying to get a pat on the back from this new guy. But this new guy is a guy that can be integrated seamlessly into interactions. And he understands the weird social dynamic nature of what the guy who can't integrate is trying to do. Or he's trying to throw me under the bus. And I just recall snapping at him. I was like, yeah, I know football, bro. Chill. And that's when that guy ended up chilling. But afterwards, he was like, yo, bro, did I upset you in that interaction? And I let him know. I said, yes, you did. I mean, you're over here trying to make me look stupid, especially when I'm trying to get you to meet this guy. And after that, after calling him out like that, I've noticed that he was still very introverted, very shy. But whenever I would introduce him, he went from being a hater to hyping me up. I guess that was a rare situation where it worked. I don't know if it's always going to work, where you call someone out for not behaving correctly when you were trying to introduce them. Some people, they're going to get irritated that you threw them under the bus or you're confronting them like that. But other people, they will actually learn. Because when they are making fun of you in front of the new person that you're introducing them to, they think they're just being funny. As a matter of fact, I've done that too. I've introduced people or they've introduced me and we're just over here joking from the very beginning. And it's not always good etiquette. You want to be able to get the conversation going without the person who initially introduced you. And this is easier if the person who initially introduced you sets you guys up appropriately. So if I am trying to introduce two friends of mine, I automatically know these two friends from multiple angles. So I could say something like, hey, you are in the gas station business. Hey, didn't you mention you want to get inside the gas station business? Talk. Now they have something to talk about that doesn't relate to me at all. But the idea that both of these guys are interested in the gas station business, if I didn't set them up, then them having an organic conversation and naturally stumbling into the gas station thing would have taken a long time. So I'm the one that's setting them up. And whenever you're interacting with people and you're trying to introduce them, you want to set them up appropriately. But some people, they are always going to throw you under the bus. And that's one of those things that I saw in this recent Love is Blind episode, where these single girls, the ones that did not find a match, whenever you're introducing them to the couples, they're behaving inappropriately. And they are often talking to these other girls who are in relationships and blowing small things way out of proportion. He said, what to you? And you're still with him? How could you be with someone who said something like this to you? One second, I'm gonna charge my laptop. How could you be with someone who says something like this to you? And they're blowing small things out of proportion. When you are supposed to be a good friend, when you are supposed to be a good spouse, there are going to be plenty of people that are trying to get you to break up your friendships, your relationships. And you do want to take in information, but you want to have a little bit of bias towards your friend or your partner, at least in the beginning stages, until people start pulling out receipts. But just because someone said something, you don't always want to get in the habit of believing them. That's where a lot of relationships fall apart. And relationships can fall apart very seamlessly when you're listening to other people or you're putting them in weird positions. And that's why I think keeping secrets is very important. And I think keeping secrets is very difficult nowadays. We're in the information age. People love to share information. They hate it when they are trying to say something and you're like, already heard about that. But when they're saying something and you're like, what? No, I didn't know about that. What? Go ahead. Keep saying. People love reactions like that. And a lot of people will get reactions like that out of your expense. Where there will be times when you try to share a secret with someone and you keep telling them, don't tell anyone. This is big. And they end up telling other people. And they'll do it in a slick way. And the slick way sometimes justifies the fact that it was accidental. For example, you tell them that you are potentially expecting kids, and they will say something like, you guys should start getting baby outfits for Armand. I mean, he didn't directly say that I'm going to have kids, but he said something ambiguous about maybe it's going to happen. I'm not saying anything. When people know that information, they just start carrying themselves in a completely different way. And that's why sometimes you gotta hold information back. There's two ways that people deal with sharing big news. Some people, they don't say anything until the news is completely finalized. And other people, they like to share the news from the very beginning. Now, the people that share news from the very beginning are very pure-hearted people. I've been like that many times in my life where as soon as I heard good news, I was from the very beginning like, let me tell everyone. But eventually, I believe a guy who wants to share news a lot turns into the guy who's like, hey, let's hold off until everything's final from pain. Where I was the guy who's always like, let me tell everyone about the good news in my life. But there were a couple of situations that transformed me into the person that I am today, the person that holds information until everything is finalized. I believe one of the first times was for college admissions. When I was applying to all of these colleges, when I finally applied to this one big college that a lot of my friends were getting into, I told them, I applied. I'm thinking that's the good news. The fact that I applied. And since I told them that, now a lot of other people know that I applied. And by the time the whether you got accepted or rejected, that news work was coming out, people were coming to me and they were like, Armani, did you get it? I ended up getting rejected. So I thought the good news was the fact that I applied where the application was a little difficult. And the fact that I applied showed other things were right, where I got my transcripts, I finished the SAT, I did the ACTs, I got the college referrals. I thought that is what was meant by things went right. But no, the actual good news was, did you get accepted or rejected? And unfortunately, then I got rejected and it hurt me and it changed me as well. For the rest of the college admissions, I wouldn't tell people if I applied. I would only tell them if I got in or not. Other people are very similar to that with dating, where you may be going to a party as a single person and multiple people are asking you, are you talking to someone? You're not even talking to someone. Is there anyone out there? You may want to tell them that there is someone, but you've been hurt in the past. 3 years ago, you kept telling everyone that you had a partner, that you guys were going to get married within that year, and suddenly something shocking happens. Maybe he or she calls it off, and everyone knew about it. Everyone was gossiping about it. And whenever you were seeing people after a long time, they were like, I heard she called it off. So now, fast forward to the present date, you are in this party, you are talking to someone, you want to share it, but you're like, I'm only going to share it once the marriage has been finalized. So a lot of people, they end up changing their perspectives on how they are going to share secrets as they grow up, and it's due to pain. My philosophy with sharing secrets is you want to be selective. Be very selective in the beginning stages. So, in terms of applying for the college, I'm not going to tell my friends, but I may tell my brother. For dating aspect, I may not tell uncles and aunties, but I may tell my parents because I understand the natural human aspect of wanting to tell someone. Where women want to tell others way more than men. Where with let's say a pregnancy announcement, I saw it on TikTok where girls they find it shocking that they have to wait. They're like, why would I wait? Where men, they're very much about the first trimester this, first trimester that. They want to wait. So women naturally want to share secrets with their loved ones way faster than men. And this is something that may cause some arguments within your relationship. Maybe the wife wants to say the information at a time that you deem inappropriate. And that's when you just need to understand basic psychology. Women, they naturally want to tell others because they feel that in the process of telling others, they no longer feel alone. They feel as though there is this wall of understanding. But with men, we don't necessarily get that wall of understanding. If a man is telling another man a secret, you'll be shocked by the lack of follow up questions. There's so many times where I will tell someone a secret, something that's very important to me, and the guy's like, oh, okay. Where with women, they will ask you these laser targeted questions. There is this follow up that women have that men can't even fathom. Men's idea of asking a follow up question is just being like, oh, when did that happen? And then you say it, and then they're like, okay, back to the sports. A lot of men don't care about the secrets that much. And even if they do, they're not going to give that wall of understanding that a lot of women crave. So women, they love to share secrets. And that's why you always need to be a little careful sharing secrets with married couple. Uh, because you may tell the guy may not tell anyone else, but more often than not, the guy will tell his wife because he wants that reaction out of the wife. The guy and the wife, they're living day to day in a very predictable sort of way. So, new news that you are giving to the guy is new news that he could share it with his wife to see that reaction of what you don't say. And this wife is now going to tell all her girlfriends, and that secret is now slowly getting out, and multiple people know about it. People that you don't even know about it. So nowadays, you need to be a little bit more secretive with your secrets Because you couldn't keep it to yourself. What's the likelihood that someone else is going to keep it for themselves? Married people will always share secrets with one another. And if it's not direct, it's going to be indirect, where they're not going to directly say it, but they're going to drop hints. Now, if someone tells you a secret and they got mad at you for spilling the secret, and you're like, I didn't spill it, it's probably that you didn't spill it the direct way, but you spilled it the indirect way, where you were dropping a lot of these hints. There have been times when I have told fraternity brothers secrets, and we're going to a party, and this guy is constantly dropping hints. And it makes me so upset. I feel as though he's letting me down. Dude, I thought we were boys. Why are you doing something like this to me? It was very sad, in my opinion. So that's one of the things that I learned. A lot of people will not directly spill your secrets, but they will drop hints. It's just human nature to want to share secrets for certain groups of people. It's not a big deal for me at all. I find it difficult to relate to those people that have to share secrets. I am very cautious about sharing secrets. And in the information age, you should be cautious. In the information age, people want to share information, new information, by the way. And since everyone is plugged in to their phones, it's very hard to share new information with someone. They're always saying, I already heard about this, I already heard about that. And when you finally get a secret, something that no one else knows, finally, within the information age, you have something valuable, something new. And it makes complete sense why you want to share it. Just understand the psychology of how a lot of these things work. In terms of office politics, one of the best ways to get leverage is to know secrets about a lot of people. And it's crazy how easily people will open up to you in the corporate workspace. One reason that I was able to always get good opportunities in the corporate workspace was because I knew how to listen. People always felt super safe around me, and it was rightfully so. I'm not one of these guys that is spilling secrets left and right. If you tell me something, most likely it ends with me. And due to that, a lot of individuals would open up to me. A lot of the times I was pinging them on the side, asking them follow up questions. Then they would write something like Zoom, and then they would put their Zoom. I would join, and now we were having a conversation. And it was shocking how much they were willing to open up. Certain people, they won't open up. They want you to figure out the information. But other people, they are willing to open up. They are willing to give you context. For example, there was a period when my team had to interact with this other team in order to get an RCA, and it had to be approved by a legal department. And initially, I thought it was a straightforward process. And I would always ask the other team, is the RCA ready? Is it ready? Is it ready? And then one day, the manager, he hits me up and he's like, let's get on a Zoom. We get on a Zoom and he is opening up to me. He was explaining to me why RCAs were so difficult to get a hold of. You have to get all these different teams together. You need to make it as blameless as possible because people are not going to want to share why they were wrong and get piled on. They want to be able to spread out the blame. So you need to be the conductor of that. You need to get the language approved by legal. You need to set expectations with clients. You need to do a lot of things. And he's telling me all of this. And I'm learning a lot because I'm thinking that this was a team that should just be providing RCAs and that was it. But he's telling me a lot. And then he is telling me a lot of secrets about his team and his department and why it's been taking longer as of late. And now I know so many secrets about different people and I have leverage. Not that I'm ever going to use the leverage, but you knowing in the corporate workspace is the biggest leverage out there. That's why I think it's super disrespectful when people don't CC you on long standing threads that you need to have a perspective on. Where there were some times I got called into these Zoom calls and I'm being asked all these questions, and I'm thinking, I have no clue what you guys are asking me. Not even an inkling of a clue. And then someone is like, oh, wait, Armani's not on the thread. Then they forward me the thread, and it's months and months of conversations. And after they forward me the thread, they're like, well, what do you think? I'm like, what do you mean, what do I think? I just got the thread. I need to go through it. It's probably going to take me the rest of the day to go through it because as I'm going through it, there's probably going to be phrases I don't know. There's probably going to be key players that I don't know. I have to do some research on them. I mean, what the heck is this, man? This is something that I should have been a part of from the very beginning. And since I don't know, I look like the dumbest in the room right now. One of the best things that people do in the corporate workspace is to add other people on emails and just write for your awareness. And those emails always come back later. Where thank God you tagged me, bro, because now someone is asking me about that. Someone is trying to blame me for something, but I wasn't on this thread at all. But thank you for adding me because now I know exactly who to track it down to. So in the corporate workspace, knowledge really is power. And gossip also serves as a form of knowledge. A lot of these people that move up the corporate ranks, it's just because they knew a lot more practical knowledge and more gossip than anyone else. Gossip is a form of knowledge in the corporate workspace. When people are telling you about their coworkers, when people are telling you about management, their management's management, I don't think you should always be the guy who's like, oh no, I don't gossip. I don't think you should be that goody two shoe. At least I think you should listen. Because there have been a couple of times I am going to get coffee and I see the manager and we're talking. And then he's like, yo, did you hear? No, what? This whole team is being laid off today, but they don't know yet. Really? No way. Where'd you hear about that? My manager's manager just told me. They're being laid off today? Yeah. We're whispering, and you could call this gossip because this is about other humans, but this is information that I know now. Who is getting laid off when? I think it's very important information to know because this could help you with your career. When you see different teams getting laid off and you're asking, any idea why? It's because this whole team is being automated. And then they'll always tell you something more important. Our teams, it's going to super technical or super client facing. Anything in the middle, it's being outsourced or automated. That info right there can help you navigate your career so much better for the next couple of months. Rather than being that person who's not that client facing or not that technical, now you can choose a side. But if you're just like, I don't want to hear anything like this, then you're missing out on a lot of crucial information. So, a big part within surviving office politics is to be that person that people are willing to open up to. People always are willing to open up to me because I make them feel heard. When they're saying something, I'm not going to say something like, I already know that. I rarely say stuff like that, even though a lot of the times people are coming to my desk and they're like, did you hear? Even if I heard, I'm like, I may have not heard about it from the context you're about to give me. So go ahead, tell me. And when they tell me one thing, they pivot to another thing, another thing. And now suddenly I know so much about a completely different team. And I'm not one of those guys that's going to use gossip against you unless I have to. If you're going to put me in a situation where you're trying to blame me, you're trying to make me look foolish, then chances are I know something about you. Someone who knows someone who knows someone told me something. And this is just a good insurance policy in case people want to throw you under the bus. In the corporate workspace, people want to throw you under the bus all the time. There's different types of pains at work. At a blue collar job, one thing that's hurting a lot is your back, your palms. Your palms may be bleeding because you held something in the wrong way. Your body is in a lot of physical pain. But in the corporate workspace, your emotional muscle a lot of the time is in pain because you're having to do a lot of, no, this isn't our job, this is their job. They said, what? No, our team wasn't responsible for this. Wait, you want to follow up with me regarding this because other teams told you that our team is responsible? Okay, so I will go into the meeting because you're my boss's boss, but I'm basically going into the meeting as me proving my innocence rather than me being innocent from the very beginning. Got it. All this stuff, it weighs on you. Whenever you see someone that has been in the corporate space for 20 to 30 to maybe even 40 years, 40 is a long, let's just say 30 years, and they have been there for a long time, they do have things that they can teach you. They know a lot of specific information, and it's not just a guy who's been an associate the whole time. If they've been an associate and they consistently moved up, then these people are not stupid. You may have caught them in a moment where they come off as stupid. You ask them a question and they're constantly going to their employee, but these guys are not stupid. These guys are very strong emotionally. And that's something that you eventually want to master too. Here's some predictions for the future. I think in the future, people are going to test your soft skills, sort of like they test your hard skills now. So if you're going to a coding interview now and you're saying stuff like, I'm a full stack developer, I know Java, I know all of this stuff, chances are there's going to be some sort of situation where you have to prove it. Maybe they'll give you an assessment. Maybe they'll give you a thought experiment. How would you solve this puzzle? Maybe they'll give you a marker, put you in front of the whiteboard and tell you to write something. They want to see you prove it. Where in the future, I think a lot of these tech jobs, they're going to see whether or not you're a good communicator, what you're thinking and feeling could be understood, whether or not you have emotional resilience, and whether or not you can get along with difficult personalities. And I think a lot of people are going to be like, well, yeah, I'm just going to say yes to all of this. Yes, I'm a good communicator. Yes, I could get along with difficult personalities. Yes, yes, yes. But I don't think it's going to be that simple. And I think people are going to trick you. I think in interviews, there's going to be one really nice guy and one super mean guy. And the super mean guy is saying stuff to you where it's very unprofessional. They may say stuff like, you don't know that answer? You sure you wanted this college? Man, you are probably the worst candidate we've had so far. And they're intentionally doing this to see your reaction. You said something like, I can get along with difficult personalities. Well, prove it. How will you navigate this situation? Now, if you just get up and storm out, that's very similar to nowadays, you're being given that software assessment and you're just getting up and leaving. So do not be surprised in the future when a lot of these hard skills jobs have been automated and now companies are still hiring, but they want to hire soft skills. And they're not just going by your words that, yes, you're good at soft skills. They're putting you in these uncomfortable situations and you're thinking, am I getting punked right now? Something feels off. That is the assessment. That is the future. I'm telling you, that's eventually going to happen. And it's happening right now, where in a lot of jobs, you're not necessarily doing technical work that much. If you go up to a lot of these VPs and you ask them, what are you doing? They're going to say stuff like, I'm reading a lot of emails, I'm forwarding a lot of emails, and I'm learning to deal with difficult personalities and giving them context when they are getting agitated about the wrong thing. All emotional intelligence, every single bit of it is emotional intelligence. For example, even reading the emails, you may think that's an IQ based thing. No, it's not. A lot of people, they leave out emails. They will push blame to other people on emails. They will accidentally add you in. And you need to understand emotional intelligence very well. And one of the easiest ways to understand emotional intelligence is to have that anti-fragile mentality. Not the mentality of, I'm dealing with these difficult personalities, but more so, whenever I'm dealing with difficult personalities, it's helping me grow. You say thank you all the time. When I first became a VP, I was dealing with these difficult personalities, and they were always catching me in the wrong context, where I'm working very hard at something and I'm trying to lead a Zoom call, but on the chat, I'm not responding as much. And so this new person gets on the chat and then they're like, yo, Armani, where are you? How come you're not being more engaged? They're getting me through the context of the chat rather than the call. So now they're thinking I'm not engaged. And now this is a situation of something feeling unfair. Now, us as human beings, whenever things feel unfair, we act out of character. Sort of like, let's say you go to a brand new restaurant, you order meal A, and your friend orders meal B. By the time the food comes, meal B, your friend's food, is way more than your food, meal A. Now, since you guys ordered different meals, it doesn't feel that weird. You think, I just chose the wrong thing. But if both of you guys get a meal A and he has way more food than you, now you feel as though something is unfair. And normally you don't tell the waitress or the waiter anything. But today, since you're feeling strong sensations of something feeling unfair, you may lash out. And that is something that may happen in my corporate workspace where I'm doing all this work on Zoom and I'm not responding back on chat that much due to doing all the work on Zoom. And now someone is telling me I'm not doing that work because of the context that they are getting me from. It feels unfair, and I may lash out to that person. What are you going to do then? You said that you could deal with difficult personalities at work. Well, prove it. You said that you could deal with difficult situations at work. Well, prove it. And that's something that you have to do a lot, especially within these teams that are growing at rapid rates. The One of the leadership people from Anthropic, they were saying that the humanities and the arts are going to be more important in the future because you have to understand the soft skills nowadays more than ever. Because no matter how much things are being automated, behind a lot of the technology, behind a lot of the automation are humans. And you need to learn how to deal with humans. And you learn how to deal with humans the best during these bad situations when things feel unfair. And you need to systematize it. And the best way to systematize it is to have an anti fragile mentality towards it. And when you have that anti fragile mentality, you feel strong emotions. Your body is feeling very warm, especially when someone calls you out, when someone confronts you, but you're able to navigate regardless. That is a big part of office politics nowadays, and that's a skill set that you want to learn. And there's another skill set you want to learn. This is something way lighter. You want to be that individual that can make new coworkers feel at home. This was always one skill set that I had at work, where whenever someone new was being hired, the manager would always introduce the new coworker to me for the Armani tour. The Armani tour consisted of me giving this individual context of the job that they were hired for. It consisted of me giving the person a tour of the entire campus. And it also consisted of me maybe taking this person out to eat. I did this for a couple of days to a couple of weeks. I consistently introduced this individual to new people on our floor, introduced them in an appropriate way, of course. I gave them context about the new coworker, set them up to win. And now this person feels assimilated within the team. This person now learns new information way faster. Where for me, no one did that for me. Whenever I get a new position, no one shows me around. Everyone just says hi and bye. And now I'm sitting on my desk completely confused. What do I do? Can someone please guide me? Can someone please help me out? And then learning new information is difficult. And eventually I learn it. Everyone can learn information eventually. But the amount of time that it took me to learn it pisses me off. And I'm saying, I'm not going to let this happen to someone else. And I'm the guy that can make new coworkers always feel comfortable. And this is something that you want to be able to do as well. You want to see that new coworker, you want to go over to their desks, you want to ping them, hey, everything going well? And this is a very easy way for you to stand out. This is a way to make yourself irreplaceable at your team. For a lot of these teams nowadays, it's either you have to be really good to talking to humans or you need to be really good at the technical work. The technical work, it consists of building dashboards, spotting automation opportunities, actually automating those opportunities. A lot of the tech work building resiliency within the different applications, etc. The communication skills based work includes presenting in sales meetings, it includes chasing people. Chasing people is when you ask someone something, they don't respond back. Now you have to keep following up. Another part of the communication skills activities is making a new coworker feel welcomed. So if you could kind of view future of jobs like that, really tech or really human centric, then you will start setting yourself up for a way where you are irreplaceable. Now, if you can do both, if you're technically savvy and you're people savvy, then you have a lot of opportunities in the future. But people are very scared nowadays, very scared about different jobs being automated. I do think a lot of jobs are being automated, but I also think a lot of jobs are safe. I think the thing that's the most safe is being able to articulate personal experiences. I see different individuals use this with different phrases, where I heard a gentleman saying taste. You need to have great taste to survive in the AI age because a lot of things are going to get automated. So you want to be the person who can spot this is actually good versus this is bad. Let's say in the future, there's this thing where a lot of AI musicians are being born, and these AI musicians are constantly chugging out music. Now, you may think a producer isn't needed anymore because these guys are chugging out great music. I don't think that's fully true. I think in a situation like this, taste does matter, and it is up to the producer to choose the 10 best AI singers. And I'm just giving you an example, by the way, and put them under his label and then market just those 10. And now these guys, these 10 artists are seen as the best of the bunch. When there's a lot of quantity, eventually taste allows you to distinguish this is crap from this is good. And that's where that subjective experience is needed. And that's where the producer comes in. So taste is very important, but for you to develop taste, you need to go through something a lot of times. For example, there's some guys out there that rarely watch movies. Whenever I'm like, have you watched this movie, that movie? They're like, I don't watch movies like that, dude. I have better things to do. So we hang out and we finally watch a movie, and this guy is giving such bad takes. Oh, this sucks, that sucks too. And this isn't a person's opinion that I respect. I actually respect my opinion more because I watch a lot of movies. I have the AMC Movie Pass. I have the Armani Talks brand, which is a storytelling business that forces me to learn different storytelling frameworks. I have a book specifically on storytelling, the art and science of storytelling, currently available on Amazon, Audible, Gumroad, a lot of different distribution platforms. I have dealt so much with storytelling that nowadays I believe I have taste versus someone who never watches movies and just has an opinion. A lot of people can have opinions, but opinions and taste are two completely different things. And I think taste is grounded on actual experience. People that have taste, chances are within the music context, chances are they have a failed music career. They tried music at a certain point. They had to learn some instrumentals. They had to sing. They had to deal with the pain of being told, you're just not that guy. Then eventually they stumbled into the producing route. And now they've seen artists from so many different contexts that nowadays they have that taste. For example, Timbaland, if he is someone who's trying to be that producer, he absolutely has taste because he makes his beats, he raps on his beats, he produces other people. So that's taste versus a guy like me who knows nothing about the music industry, just saying, this sucks. I just have an opinion. So it's all about the taste in the future. The question is, what can you build a taste for? People undermine their personal experiences a lot. And it's because of the quote, no idea is new, but every experience is new. Every experience. So you want to use your experiences to see what you have taste in. And never let someone tell you that what you have taste in is childish or stupid. For example, there's this YouTube channel. His name is Dylan Does Basketball. In my opinion, he has the best basketball documentaries out there. The way that he will bring up these niche content pieces about a big moment shows to me that he actually knows the topic. Because let's say he's making a documentary about something that happened in 2007. I went through that experience in 2007, and nowadays in 2026, within his documentary, he has these snippets of 2007. I'm like, man, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. This guy is great at basketball documentaries. He has taste in it. Now, someone is going to be like, oh, it's just basketball. What's the point of having taste in basketball? It's for little kids. No, this guy is probably obsessed with basketball. The fact that you could find these little snippets from 2007, I hear his voice, he sounds like he was born in 2007, shows dedication. So don't let someone tell you that you have tasted something completely stupid. Absolutely not. Chances are, what you have tasted, there's a rabid fan base there somewhere for it. For example, with Dylan Does Basketball, he has a taste for basketball, and there is a rabid fan base for basketball. Same with movie reviews. People who don't listen to movie critics or watch movies may think that movies are a complete waste of time. So movie reviews are a waste of time. But if you actually like movies, you watch a lot of movies, you can sit through all types of movies to eventually get to the score of this was good, this was bad, then you are someone that, in my opinion, has taste for this field, and you should honor that taste. So taste is a lot different than opinions. Taste is built from raw experience, genuine curiosity. You actually gave this thing a chance. And that's where I want to close off with wrestling. I mean, wrestling is something that a lot of men born in the 90s, they all have watched wrestling at a certain period. And if you grew up in the 90s, I would say 98% of you guys, myself included, were like, oh, wrestling sucks now. My era, we had Rock, we had Stone Cold, we had Kane, we had Undertaker. That was the good era. But if you talk to the new generation, a lot of new generation people will tell you that wrestling had another golden era in the 2020 range. Now, I am not someone that can give a good opinion regarding this because I have been very close minded to wrestling ever since Stone Cold, The Rock, and those guys left. I don't give wrestling a chance at all. So it may seem like I have taste. I may seem like, no, no, trust me, I've seen the new content, but the old school was better. But I'm not someone who ever gave the new school a chance. So I can't be one of those guys that says I have taste because I approach this whole thing from a closed-minded attitude. So you definitely want to factor in taste more. You want to see what do you actually have opinions on. It's not always bad to be disagreeable. When you have taste, you're going to be so disagreeable. Or there's always these different individuals that are like, yo, Armani, this movie was great. This was a great movie. And since I'm someone that watches a lot of movies, I'm like, this was not great, man. If you call this great, then I don't know what to tell you. So I'm very opinionated regarding movies. I'm very opinionated regarding my score. And I'm not someone that can be swayed. An army of people will tell me this movie is a 9 out of 10. But ultimately, I trust my taste. And that's something that you need to be able to do as well. You want to build a palette for something. You don't want to always be a yes man. And eventually, it would be good if different individuals within your friend circle come to you. They're like, yo, man, you are the guy that is known for boxing. Like all of us, we know about other sports, but you're the boxing guy. What do you think about this fighter? You don't like this fighter? But everyone likes this fighter. And you're not just being a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian. You actually have something that you can stand on. So taste is one of the most important skill sets to develop in the upcoming era. And the way that you develop it is by prioritizing your subjective experiences. You have a genuine curious attitude and you try different things within that field. And from there, you will have taste, you will have strong opinions on whether or not you like it or you dislike it. So today we are wrapping up. Thank you very much for joining me. And if you want more insights like this into communication skills, be sure to sign up for the Armani Talks free daily newsletter. Join the tribe by going on armanitalks.com/newsletter and sign up today to level up your communication skills. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.